Ladies and gentlemen, let's Gaming Telecom video. We're going to be discussing a rather puzzling issue concerning the Xbox One and Xbox 360 and the title The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, I'm sure you may remember that Activision mentioned that the Xbox One version of The Amazing Spider-Man had been delayed without a release date. Indeed, some websites were giving a generic release date, saying basically by the end of the year. And they were, quote, working with Microsoft to try and release the title. And suddenly, without warning, without any announcement at all, the game is now available to download digitally on the Xbox One. So it's a little bit puzzling, because to begin with, people had some trepidation downloading the title. They were like, is it an error? You know, is it going to just take the money out of my bank account and really not unlock? Or is it going to be removed afterwards and therefore I'm going to have trouble downloading it if I, decide to re-download my account or whatever? And so people eventually decided to take the plunge and download it and try it, because there'd still been no confirmation whatsoever from Microsoft or Activision up until this point. And then suddenly there was a press release from Major Nelson, also known as Larry Herb, on his blog, and it was an official release saying, yeah, guys, the title's available. So this is actually one of the most puzzling releases, I don't even know the word other than releases, I've seen available for consoles in a long time. Because here was the situation, this is why it was so strange. We knew that the title was really far along in development for the Xbox One. It was pretty much on the same trajectory as the PlayStation 4 and the rest of the versions like the PC and blah blah blah. But then suddenly, for some reason, it was just like, yeah, we're not working on it, or, it's not going to be released for the foreseeable future. And there were so many mixed messages, and suddenly it's just popped up anyway. And there were half a dozen different theories that I heard regarding this. Some was that it was a Sony Pictures film. And of course that doesn't really make sense, because it was released on other formats other than the PS3 anyway. So that wasn't it. Other people figured, well, maybe it was having issues on the Xbox One in terms of quality assurance. Now that can be an issue. So for example, let's say there's a particular bug in a particular version of a game. For example, different studios or different quality assurers, beta testers basically, will get hold of different versions. So for example, you might have one studio that's responsible for the Xbox 360 version, another studio, or rather another team, that's responsible for beta testing the Xbox One version, and so on. And it could have been that there was maybe a bug until almost the very last minute that was in the Xbox One version that, say, caused it to crash or caused different issues with the engine. Unknown. But of course there's no mention right now of a day one patch, and because obviously games are typically completed well before that they're actually available on the retail shelf, that's possibly not the solution either. So it could have been something to do with licensing, it could have been maybe some type of disagreement. I have a feeling, unfortunately, that we're not going to ever know the real reason behind this. I have a feeling that we're just going to be in the dark, which is a shame, to be honest, as I'm really curious, mighty curious to know what the story is here. Particularly as there was no announcement whatsoever. If it was like, yeah, the game's been delayed for a couple of, weeks. Oh no, sorry guys, don't worry about it, we'll fix the issue. That wouldn't really, I wouldn't say set alarm bells off, but it wouldn't really make my eyebrow raised. But in this case, it's like, well, what happened? Why suddenly no announcement at all? Maybe, I guess it's possible they forgot, but it's not exactly a small title. So it's almost like it was just basically the last minute a deal was reached. That's the only thing I can think of offhand. Last minute, clutch second, it managed to go through. Regardless, obviously it's good for Xbox One owners who wanted to play the game, and I suppose as well, when you consider, good from Microsoft's perspective, Not necessarily because this is going to be like the game that sells a system, but it's always good when a multi-platform game isn't delayed, because it just, it's just good for the, well, purposes of PR, if anything. Anyway, mighty puzzling. I'll be keeping my eye on this one. Anyway, take care, and bye for now.